welcome to another mind-blowing episode of the Paisley Show. Y'all are in for a treat today because I have two friends stopping by who just so happened to release two of my favorite albums of 2020. They are punk as fuck, and I'm so excited to have them on the show today. Al Riggs is here. Austin Lucas is here. We have a great show for you today, so stick around and enjoy the show. I met Al Riggs on stage at the Pinhook in Durham, North Carolina when I was on tour with Lavender Country. Al writes sad queer songs and sometimes angry queer songs. They just released an album this year with Lauren Francis called Bile and Bone, and it is incredible. You have to listen to it. Based in Durham, North Carolina, Al is a prolific songwriter, musician, and creator. I also want to say congrats to Al because they got married earlier this year. Please welcome to the show, Al Riggs.
One of the best things I've ever done was be on that stage with Lavender Country.
That was an amazing tour. I'm so glad we got to play that show together.
Oh yeah.
What would you say your dream collaboration would be if you could collaborate with anybody?
Oh, I would love to collaborate with Kurt Wagner from Lamb Chop.
Okay.
Who's one of my favorite bands. One of my favorite singers ever. Probably he's my favorite male singer.
Hmm.
Got a voice that just sounds like he's crying with a smile.
Yeah.
He's crying and winking at you at the exact same time. Um, I don't know. I love the way that he, as the front person for Lamb Chop, has kind of taken this band and this kind of germ of an identity and has carried it through different genres and different ways of recording and performing. And even though there might not be a there might not be any of what they were 10 years ago in what they are now, the sensibilities are all still there.
Everybody needs to go listen to Bile and Bone and look out for your new record that's going to be coming out. I need to record my part, girl. I'm going to be doing that soon.
I don't know when the album's going to come out. I'm aiming for early summer of 2021.
Okay.
With the tentative full title of I Got a Big Electric Fan to Keep Me Cool While I Sleep.
We drove past a cardboard Confederate flag, always in a freeze frame of being flown. And we were only a couple of turns away from our home. And the thing is, it'll never be in any real danger of going away anytime soon. Bile and Bone, Bile and Bone, Bile and Bone, Bile and Bone. And I should not be in a place where I'm on my knees every night, praying for my leaders to be shot down on sight. But hey, here we are, and the thing is, they'll never be in any real danger of going away anytime soon. Bile and Bone, Bile and Bone, Bile and Bone, Bile and Bone. Half in the future and the rest in the trunk. Half in the future and the rest in the trunk. Half in the future and the rest in the trunk. Half in the future and the rest in the trunk. Oh, half in the future and the rest in the trunk. Oh no, half in the future and the rest in the trunk. Oh, half in the future and the rest Austin Lucas put out a fantastic new record just a couple weeks ago called Alive in the Hot Zone. His song Already Dead was just announced as a nominee for International Song of the Year for the UK Americana Awards. He's toured alongside the likes of Willie Nelson, Dawes, Jamie Johnson, Ray Price, Brent Cobb, John Moreland, and many, many more. I am so glad and excited to have him on the show. Please welcome Austin Lucas.
I mean, I didn't only release an album during the pandemic. I released an album the week of the election. I've got everything against me. In general. But I knew that was going to be the case. I don't know if it definitely didn't help the record that the election happened. But we know that my album helped people deal with the election.
Absolutely.
And I had a lot of people writing me being like, "You're talking to me right now. Thank you so much. This is helping so much." Look, man, I'm punk as fuck. And I know, it's normally I think when people say that shit, it's like, listen to this fucking poser. But I'm fucking 41 and I've been booking DIY shows since I was 12 and playing in touring bands and there was a time, the worst time of my life was when I tried to move away from being a punk person. Was when I was disconnected. Literally, the worst time of my life was probably, and this includes the years that I lived in Nashville. You know what I mean? But the years leading up to me living in Nashville and the years that I lived in Nashville where I was really just trying to make it in music. And so even though I talked about my politics some and I was open with the fact that I was an anarchist and that I was queer positive and that I was a feminist and all these things, I wasn't overt about it. You know what I mean? I didn't shove it down people's throat. And I really wanted to be careful and walk a line, and I was fucking dying on the inside, and really that was the worst time of my life because not only was I squashing who I really was, but I was also letting myself kind of act like a douchebag too, because I felt that was what I was, you know what I mean? That was my true hedonistic period. Even though I think I did a lot of drugs in my 20s, I was still attached to something larger. You know what I mean? I was still attached to radical politics and to the DIY hardcore and punk community and stuff like that. And it wasn't until I hit 30 that I just had, started my 5 years, which was my reverse midlife crisis where I was I've got to get serious about my life and I've got to get my career in order and I'm just going to marry the next person that dates me. Okay, I did. Oh, that didn't work. You know what I mean? Now I'm depressed. I'm just going to eat and fuck and drink myself into a hole. You know what I mean? Because that's what songwriters whose careers are failing do. You know what I mean? So if I want to be remembered and a legend, I better die penniless and from drugs.
You're into kickboxing or is it just regular boxing? What is
Muay Thai fighting? It's another. I mean, it's often categorized as kickboxing, and it definitely kickboxing is a catch-all for a lot of different martial arts that are full contact. You know, but specifically, I'm a Muay Thai fighter. I actually just got done training, so I'm actually wearing my.
Yeah.
But I do Muay Thai. It's a martial art, a full contact fighting sport from Thailand, and it's different because it involves standing up grappling, and you fight with elbows and you fight with knees also. So it's just a very good fight system that works well for fitness and also for sport fighting, if you're interested in sport fighting, and in the street, as they say, which is the reason why a lot of anti-fascists like myself train Muay Thai. It's a very effective fighting system that goes a long way in a lot of different realms.
wipers on high, and you barely see in the snow and rain. White crosses shine, swallowed by miles burning away. Time moves quick, but the road always feels so slow. Can't feel heat when a mind decides to cling to the cold. What do you think about what goes in and out your mind? Watching white lines go by, listen to the motor hum, play the steering wheel like a drum, a lot of dum-dum into the night. He says, I ain't going back inside. Come on and drive, drive. Come on and drive. We shiver and we cry like wounded skylarks. Hear the call and response out in the dark. Two young souls cursing at the start, singing prayers with broken hearts and searching for a spark. What do you think about what goes in and out your mind? Watching white lines go by, listen to the motor hum, play the steering wheel like a drum, a lot of dum-dum into the night. He says, don't ask me to hide. I ain't going back to that life tonight or any other night. What do you think about what goes in and out your mind? Watching white lines go by, listen to the motor hum, play the steering wheel like a drum, a lot of dum-dum into the night. He says, don't ask me to hide. I ain't going back to that life. Come on and drive, drive, drive. Come on and drive.
Our show. Thank you so much to my guests, Austin Lucas and Al Riggs. I hope you all have a very happy and safe Thanksgiving, however you decide to celebrate. And always remember, don't be normal, because normal is boring. We'll see you next time.
I see you stuff